Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. I am finally back from the race world first. I am tired, but excited. Hopefully you guys had a good Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all that. And I am pumped to get back into creating more Warlock and just WoW-based content because Vault the Incarnates is underway. Season 1's underway. Warlock is doing some damage in the raid, and we're not too bad Mythic Plus. So tonight, I want to take a bit of time and talk about the best talent builds that are currently out there being played for every spec, Destro, Demo, AF in different settings, spanning the raid, single target, AoE, Mythic Plus, and all of that. Plus, Demonology has a couple maybe minor changes that could be coming, which we should discuss as well. Now, a couple things before we get too far in the video. Number one, I want to give a huge shout out to my patrons. Thank you guys for all the support on Patreon, 10,000 times. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for bearing with me as well over the Race to World First. If you'd like to support on Patreon, should be a link up here, as well as a few other random social media links. And number two, any week auras, add-ons, and profiles you see in the video. Links to both my Twitch and Discord down below, where they're all indeed available to you guys for free. Swing by, grab them, hang out, ask any questions anytime as well. Feel free to do so. With that being said, let's jump right into the video, starting off with the best probably overall performing spec so far for Warlock, Demonology. So when it comes to Demonology and Mythic Plus, this is the general skeleton that I've been playing. However, there are two different builds here I want to talk about for Mythic Plus. Now, this is more of the Guillotine version, Guillotine, Infernal Command, having 1 point here in Fell Sunder. I've had it both in Sunder and Calling. I'm leaning more towards Sunder, but both are fine. But the thing with this build, this is the Guillotine sustained AoE build, having this ability every 45 seconds. Now, if you want more of a single target priority damage profile, you can just take these two points here, 1 point here, and pull this and go Nether Portal, Ner'zhul's, and Gul'dan's. Now, I've actually been playing this build plus lately more than the Guillotine build. I think, personally, this build is a little better. Demonology's damage profile is already very solid Mythic Plus, even excluding Guillotine, whatever it brings in AoE, because you have Demonic Strength, you have Demonic Strength, you have Fellstorm, you have your third dog, you have Dogs Rechomping, you have Dreadlash, you have Implosion, you have Imp Gang Boss, you have Demonic Meteor. All this just stacks synergy of Demonology doing this stack large cleave based damage, right? AoE cleave, whatever you want to call it. But what Demonology lacks in is actually single target if you're not playing Nether Portal, because Decon is gone. We have Grand Warlock's design, but it's pretty mediocre. So if you're playing a build like this, you have you're solid in AoE. You can bring that big AoE profile every 45 seconds or a minute with Demonic Strength and Implosion in between. But when it comes to bosses, you're not very strong. So I've actually opted to take these 3 points out of here, 1, 2, 3, and 1 out of here, and go Nether Portal, double Ner'zhul's, and Gul'dan's. I've been playing this build. So I'm popping Portal basically on every boss, and if I can get it on trash packs are going to live for a while. Portal with Pit Lord can do a lot of damage, and this brings still a very well-rounded AoE profile, Demonic Strength, Implosion, Dread Calling, Third Dog, Demonic Meteor, Imp Gang Boss, just hand to Gul'dan, 2-piece, 4-piece damage, just huge stack cleave still, while also having that big once every 3-minute button to hit another Portal, Ner'zhul's, and Gul'dan. So either of these builds you can play for Mythic Plus, but these are the two builds I look at playing if you're looking at rolling with Demonology. Now, when it comes to the actual single target build, this is what I've been playing. It's pretty cut and dry for the most part. However, there are a couple talents that can change. So I've actually seen people playing 1 point in Calling lately. I'm a fan of that. Now, I've seen both 1 point in Calling and 1 point over here in Fell Sunder. And it sort of depends what you end up doing, sort of what you prefer. Fell Sunder sims higher. However, on certain fights, it can be a little lackluster with movement. What I've seen, though, so I've actually run a couple sims here. I haven't been able to run sims until I got home from the race world first, but so I was curious about Vile Fiend, because when it comes to Vile Fiend, I'm not a huge fan of it, never really have been. And without decon being around and things like that, I wanted to see how close it was. So I have two different sims here. This is my current sim in single target, 72,082 DPS, right? Playing Vile Fiend, which is right here. I'm playing 1 out of 2 Inner Demons, all that stuff, and playing Fell Sunder. Now, if I take a point out of Vile Fiend and throw it in the Demonic Calling, in this sim, 1 Demonic Calling, I lose 50-ish DPS, 63, with a 36 DPS margin of error, but there's no Vile Fiend, there's Demonic Calling, and there's still Fell Sunder. If you pull up the actual breakdown here, the high end, 84,512, actually favors the Demonic Calling build over the Vile Fiend build. 84,512 versus 83,8, which is a bit of variance RNG, but still, I haven't played it yet. I'm curious to see where it goes, but there's a distinct possibility that if I lose 50 DPS out of 72,000, I'm not playing Vile Fiend, and I'm going to play one Demonic Calling in Felsunder. Now, once again, Felsunder is a bit hit or miss in certain fights, might vary a bit. I'm going to play with it more this week. The general single target build has been this build here. Playing Vile Fiend, Felsunder. I've seen Demonic Calling, like I said, in place of Felsunder. I think this is actually better. 2 points in Fel Covenant, Nether Portal, Tyrant with Wilfred's or Grand Warlock's design, 2 points in Sack Souls. So you have this big Fel Covenant, Power Siphon, Inner Demons, Sack Souls, Demon Bolt synergy kind of thing here going on with Vile Fiend and Grimoire and all of that. Once again, I'll mess more with this build later on, of course, of the week whenever, you know, the raid resets and all that. But currently, Vile Fiend and no Vile Fiend Demonic Calling actually seem really close. So this is the pure single target build people have been asking about. Played it on Taros. Very well might play it on Sinarth, depending how that goes. But Fel Covenant, Sack Souls, all the Demon Bolt value with your 2-piece, it's too hard to deny. It's just too good, right? And when it comes to the Cleave build, Nether Portal Cleave build, this is the Implosion-based build you're playing, I'd say, in the majority of fights in Vault of the Incarnates, and it's very similar to the Plus build, right? However, you are playing Vile Fiend here over Soul Strike, which once again, I mean, you can sort of say, hey, Demonic Calling over Vile Fiend, I wouldn't fault you for it. I've seen builds doing just that. But the big thing here, still playing one Power Siphon, still playing one Inner Demons, having full Portal value, full Tyrant value, and Tor Armaments, Expendables. So you have that big single target profile still, without Sack Souls, but still big single target, and having Implosion value for Cleave and all that, and Imp Gang bosses. This brings a very well-rounded, good prio damage profile, similar to the Plus builds playing Portal, not the same note, just similar, but also having a good Cleave-based profile if need be. This has been played on fights like Aranog, Diurna, Razageth, and things like that. And once again, Vile Fiend very well might be on its way out, and you might be looking at playing Demonic Calling over Vile Fiend, just due to how close they are in Sims. So that's Demonology. All the builds, once again, down below in the video description. With that being said, let's move on to Affliction. So when it comes to Affliction, I will say right now that Aff is decently undertuned even after the recent Rapture buffs that have come into retail about a week ago. However, with Focused Malignancy coming back on PTR and things in 10.05, it's actually looking pretty good from what I've heard on PTR. We'll get into that a bit more next week when we have some more time to do all that kind of stuff. But as of right now, there are really 2 builds here that I want to show. This is going to be the primary single target build for whatever you're doing as Affliction in both the Incarnates and wherever you want single target prio-based damage. Now, if you want more of a single target / AoE potential build, you can just pull 2 points out of here in Sacrilege and you just go sow the Seed of Corruption and sow the seeds. All you got to do, you'll be able to cast Seed with sow for fights where ads spawn for once in a while, like Sinarth maybe, but still have that good single target profile. Big talents here: Siphon Life, Phantom Singularity, 2 points in ID. Coming down here, 1 point in Dark Lair, Haunted Soul. This is terrible. You got to have it just to get Haunted Soul. 1 point in Crescendo, 1 point in Creeping Death, 2 points in Malefic Affliction, and 1 point in Dread Touch. Big thing here, trying to maintain Dread Touch as high as you can, as often as you can, and still having those 45-ish second Rapture windows thanks to Phantom Singularity. Now, once again, Aff's a bit undertuned in single target even after the Rapture Drain Soul buffs that came in about a week or so ago. But there is one thing that Aff's actually good at, and that is AoE. So this is going to be the Grim Reach AoE build that's being played mostly in Mythic Plus now, or on fights like Primalist Council, where you can get that big stacked solid AoE damage profile. Now, big things here, we're playing Seed of Corruption, Absolute Corruption over Siphon Life, and Vile Taint over Phantom Singularity for Agony applications, Vile Taint value, all that kind of stuff, right? Big thing here, 1 point in Creeping Death, 1 point in Haunt, Dark Lair, double Visionary, and Grim Reach. This causes your Dark Lair to AoE I-beam everything down, basically. AoE's I-beam on everything that has dots on it. Big damage, AoE. And on top of that, you also have Soul Rot, Soul Eater's Gluttony, which makes Soul Rot about a 35-ish second CD, depending on haste and things like that, and Dark Harvest. So having both this, Summon Dark Lair, Grim Reach, Dark Harvest, all this gives you a very, very strong, just cooldown-based damage profile every 2 minutes with Dark Lair, and a shorter but still strong one every 35-ish with Soul Rot and Soul Eater's Gluttony. Now, you could just play ID over Soul Flame if you wanted here, because of Soul Rot, ID value, all that. Sort of up to you. I think it's dungeon dependent. Ruby Life Pools, for example, good Soul Flame dungeon. Halls of Valor, probably a better ID dungeon than Soul Flame, but still very good. All around, Aff is better AoE than it is at single target. So you can try and play these hybrid middle ground builds of, like, you know, rim reach, like no, and like putting points in this row or even here. But I think for the most part, if you're playing Affliction Mythic Plus, you play to its strengths, you play the heavy AoE build, and just sort of accept the fact that you're not very good in single target, at least until 10.05. But this is going to be the more AoE based build for AF, Mythic Plus, and wherever else you want this damage profile. So getting into destruction here finally, there are two different builds that you can play in single target. They're both very similar. In essence, they're one build, just it depends what talents you want to play in the, I guess, this part of the tree here. So the first build, one of two single target ones, is going to be the single target Conflagration of Chaos build, and it's going through here, Roaring Blaze into Shadowburn, which is completely irrelevant for this build in single target, pretty much. You're just going into here to get Conflagration of Chaos, which gives you a higher chance for Conflagrate and Shadowburn. Basically just Conflagrate the crit. The other build goes through here, Roaring Blaze into Soulfire, into Decimation. So you're not playing Shadowburn, you're just playing Soulfire Decimation. You'll have one more talent point to play with as well if you're going through just Soulfire Decimation to get Ruin. You can put it wherever you want, like in Master Ritualist, for example. The main reason this build is played, being Conflagration of Chaos in single target over Soulfire, is because people don't want to cast Soulfire in single target. Like, hey, I get it. It's fine. They're actually both pretty similar in performance. 90% of the time, there really is no Shadowburn relevance. Maybe you cast it at the very end of the fight when the boss is dying. You're not playing Shadowburn because it's good in single target. You're playing it to grab Conflagration of Chaos and to go into Ruin. So it's up to you. Both builds are close. If you're a Soulflame enjoyer or Soulfire enjoyer, launch the Soulfires. If you're a Conflagration of Chaos enjoyer, hey, play this build. They're both very close, but big things here, grabbing Infernal, Diabolic Embers, Double Madness, certainly Chaos Incarnate, Ritual of Ruin, double Burn to Ashes, and Avatar of Destruction, double Burn to Ashes, and one Avatar of Destruction. You have to put 1 point in Havoc here to unlock the next row here. It's just odd design, but this is going to be the bread and butter Destro single target build if you're looking at doing that. So when it comes to Destruction, Havoc-based damage profiles and talents, this is a good starting point for probably every scenario. Now, you're playing Havoc, obviously, Pandemonium for longer Havoc, and you're playing Rolling Havoc for that stacking Havoc cleave damage increase. Now, off the bat, I have seen some fights where you're playing Mayhem, like Broodkeeper Diurna, Karag Grim Totem, for example, or some. To a similar extent, I've even seen Cry Havoc being played on certain fights, like Primalist Council, for that stack 4-target meat grinder kind of fight, right? Just a big 4-target meat grinder, just constant Cry Havoc Chaos Bolt cleave. However, this build, just Havoc, Pandemonium, Rolling Havoc, Flashpoint, all that. Good, solid, consistent single target / cleave damage profile. Very similar to the single target profile we saw a minute ago. Big thing here, still playing Shadowburn. A fight like Sonarth with little ads running around, these spiderlings could actually be cleave with Shadowburn here. Conflagration of Chaos, Ruin, and down below, Ritual of Ruin, Master Ritualist, Avatar of Destruction, Madness, Diabolic Embers, Chaos Incarnate, Infernal, no Burn to Ashes here. Now, what the Destro Havoc-based cleave profiles are very, very customizable. I've seen builds playing CDF. I've seen most builds playing Burn to Ashes, sometimes even over Master Ritualist, most of the time over that. If you're looking for more of a single target prio profile, but still a strong cleave profile whenever you want, Burn to Ashes is a better option there. I've seen builds even going into Backlash, even builds putting a point in Fire and Brimstone to improve Immolate, just due to like other scenarios and I guess places where you want that kind of value. It does seem a little odd to me having like points in improved Immolate and things going into Fire and Brimstone, but hey, you know, it is what it is. Either way, it's very customizable. I would encourage you to comb through logs and see what's being played on certain fights if you're not sure, but this is a great general starting point for Destro with Havoc Cleave on a fight like Karag Grim Totem. Conflagration of Chaos, Pandemonium, Havoc, Rolling Havoc, permanent 2-target fight, you really can't go wrong with a build like this. Now, Destro M Plus is also pretty customizable because you can play talents like Cataclysm and things like Channel Demon Fire and Raging Demon Fire and other things like even Shadowburn if you want, which isn't really played in a whole lot of settings, but it's still an option. However, this build here has been the most played build, I'd say, recently when it comes to higher end plus and things from what I've seen running around. Now, you're playing Inferno over Kata. You're playing Havoc, Cry Havoc. I could see worlds where you play Pandemonium for just longer shard gen, more conflagrate cast, and your Havoc window, all that kind of stuff. Either way, Cry Havoc does indeed provide good, just stack cleave in a smaller, not mass AoE setting with Chaos Bolt and all that. Rolling Havoc, Flashpoint, 1 point in Backlash. Going into Roaring Blaze here, a bit of a bump in single target, which is needed with this build because you're not playing a lot of single target based abilities like Burn to Ashes, things like that, no CDF. Grabbing, reduce cooldown on Conflagrate, and besides that, Infernal, 1 point in Power Overwhelming. Now, we'll loop back to that, but keep that in mind. Same thing though, Diabolic Embers, Madness, Chaos Incarnate being very good, Ritual of Ruin, Master, Avatar Destruction, and you have 1 point here, which is going to be, in this case, Power Overwhelming. I could see it being put in Burn to Ashes for a bit more of a kick in single target. I could even see him being put maybe somewhere else. I mean, it's hard to say where else, honestly. I think you want like this over Shadowburn. I think this is actually being a little underplayed recently. I think it's better than I thought it was. I could see Burn to Ashes over this, but the big thing with this build, big Inferno Cleave and AoE. You've got this, you've got Flashpoint for early haste procs, Rolling Havoc for just that strong cleave-based profile, big damage increase and heavy AoE. Cry Havoc for cleave damage increase as well. Havoc, obviously. You've also got decent single target, Roaring Blaze. You also got Madness. You've got Chaos Incarnate. You've got your 2-piece, 4-piece from Sepulchre. This is your purple Infernals, right? Baseline Infernal. And yeah, this is a bit of a mastery increase. Now, I'm surprised that we're not seeing a whole lot of like Grand Warlock's design kind of Crashing Chaos stuff in Mythic Plus, but this build, from what I've seen, even hitting a dummy a little bit ago, actually brings a lot of sustained AoE even outside your Infernal. With Infernal, you're insane. It's not as good as Sepulchre was necessarily. Those times were maybe a little bit too good, but this build's actually pretty solid. Inferno feels good. And hey, that 5% chaos buff that we got a few days ago didn't really hurt either. It's not incredible in single target, but it's not terrible. And it's also very, very good in AoE. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully they help clarify what builds are performing best for every spec involved with the Incarnates, Mythic Plus, and mostly every scenario out there. Now, once again, the demo stuff with Vile Fiend and without Vile Fiend, I'm going to test out this week in Reclear and Mythic and all that kind of stuff, and I guess report back. AF's pretty set in stone. You've got 2 or 3 different builds, really single target, AoE, and maybe some hybrid stuff with like Seed if need be. And Destro has single target, Havoc Cleave, which is very customizable, and a heavy AoE build in Plus with Inferno, which is also pretty customizable, but pretty good as well. Overall, I've been enjoying Demo the most, but Destro and AF aren't too bad. And with 10.05 PTR on the horizon, with AF getting Focus Malignancy back, and the Rapture buffs actually looking really good. AF single target on PTR, I've seen a little bit of it, is actually really solid. I'm pretty sure it's close where Demonology is at right now. Now, once again, another Portal 3-minute cooldown versus AF 2-minute all stuff. We'll see where it goes, but Malignancy, Rapture buffs, Drain Soul buffs, Pandemic Invocation changes. I think AF could possibly be in a pretty solid spot heading into 10.05, but we'll see where that goes over the next few weeks. So I got a lot of questions though about what builds are best, what's changed, and all that. So hopefully this video helped answer those questions for you guys. If you have any more, drop them down below in the comment section. I'm sure to get back to you. If I missed anything here as well, also put it down below, and I'll be sure to check it out. Now, once again, all the build links will indeed be down below in the video comment section. Be pinned there, probably in a paste bin, something like that, if you want them. All the strings and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, with that being said, I want to give one huge shout out to my patrons again before we end the video. Thank you guys a million times for supporting on Patreon. Really appreciate it a million times. Thank you, thank you. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, should be a link up here as well as down in the video description below. And yeah, with that being said, I mean, Vaulting Cards is underway. The Race World First is over. My guild's gonna be killing Snarth, I would assume, at some point this week. I'm excited. Lock is like not incredibly OP like we thought it would be the entire time of beta. People thought I was like sandbagging some weird Lock build, like, or Warlocks were downplaying themselves. We're not like terrible, but there are certainly classes that are better than us. However, I think 10.05 is going to be a good tuning point for a lot of classes. So we'll see where that goes. I think Lock overall is pretty good. We're probably the best spec in Mythic Plus, though, as far as range is concerned. It's a melee meat grinder in there, man, plus a demo lock for once in a while. So we could be worse, let's put it that way. But all that being said, thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, be sure to smash the like and sub buttons below. It helps out a ton. And I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Actually, tomorrow, today, Tuesday, whenever you're watching this. I'm coming back and stream finally. So yeah. Peace.